Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mount Kurian, and today I'm going live from Tiju's Academy, Tiruvalla. Hope you all are doing good. So let's begin our session today. So as I mentioned in the last couple of slides or the couple of videos that I did, we discussed about the fluency and the grammatical range and accuracy. So today let's discuss how pronunciation helps and how to learn silent words and how to speak or say the silent letter words properly to pronounce those words. So let's start today's session. Okay, so what are silent letters? A silent letter is an alphabet or combination of the alphabets that is usually not pronounced in a word. So a silent letter is an alphabet or a combination of the alphabets that's usually not pronounced in a word. So I'll give you some examples as we go ahead. Now, let's see. Silent letters are one of the most important aspects of the English language. Although they are not usually pronounced, they can make a huge difference in how you write and speak words. Mastering silent letters is a critical component of learning and speaking English, especially if you want to excel in tasks such as IELTS. By understanding the rules that govern silent letters, you can improve your pronunciation, spelling, and intonation, and further avoid common mistakes that may hinder your progress. So take the time to read below and familiarize yourself with these essential pieces of vocabulary. You'll be amazed at how much it can improve your English speaking as well as your writing skills. So, endana silent letters. So, as you know, silent letters, there will be some letters in a word which you not need to pronounce, because pronouncing that word, that letter in that word will change that word's meaning. So, it's always good to know which and how to pronounce those words which are in silent or the letters. Rules for silent letters and words in English. Silent letters in English often unnoticed carry the secrets of pronunciation. By understanding these elements, we can grasp a better understanding of the language. Let's dive into silent letters like secret codes in words. It's fun to find and understand them. So I've created a list from A to Z. So it's not all the alphabets but the most common alphabets I have selected. And let's look into it and see how we can pronounce the silent letters without spelling it out or without saying it out. So, letter combination, it can be one or two or more, but the first one is the letter B. And the letter B is usually silent after M and the end of a word. Example, നമ്മൾ തലമുടി ചീകിന് ചീപ്പിന് പറയുന്നതാണ് comb. So we never say comb. B pronounce ചെയ്യത്തില്ല. The B is silent there. So it's pronounced as comb. The same thing with your thumb. We never say thumb. B will not be pronounced because that's a silent letter. So it remains unpronounced before the letter T. For example, if B comes before the T, for example, doubt. നമ്മൾ doubt B pronounce ചെയ്യത്തില്ല. And it's not subtle, it's subtle. So B is silent. So S-U-T-L-E are pronounced here. The B is swallowed. We don't pronounce that because that's a silent word, letter. Now, let's go over to C. Let's see what do we have here. The letter C is typically silent in the combination of SC. For example, scissors and ascend. So, ascend A-S-E-N-D, ascend, not extend. Same thing with scissors. And it remains mute before the letter K and Q. For example, acquaints and it acquit. Right? So it's acquit and it is acquaints. Now let's look into the letter D. The letter D is silent when it appears before the letters N and G. For example, Wednesday, and it's same thing here with C-A-D, number pronounce it, it's cage. So we don't say cage. D number pronounce it. Let's cage. And now let's look into the letter E. If the letter E comes at the end of words, it is generally not pronounced. For example, for, table. Sometimes E may not be pronounced when it occurs before the letter D. in the second and third form of verbs. For example, bored, fixed, etc. So we have completed B, C, D and E. Let's look into the next slide. So now let's look into G. The letter G is not pronounced when it comes before N in a word. For example, design, foreign. So here you see the G is not pronounced, it's silent. Same thing with foreign, F-O-R-E-I-G-N. So it's F-O-R-E-I. G is not pronounced, it's just N. So it's foreign, and the same goes with design. G-H. G-H, so now that was a combination. Now it's a combination of letters. That is more than a letter. So two. So that's G and H. So G and H is not pronounced when it follows a vowel in a word. For example, high, thought. Exceptions exist for compound words. So ivideയും exceptions order, there are many exceptions. So make sure you follow that. Now when it comes to H, the letter H is usually silent when it appears after W. For example, why and what. We never stress on H here. So it's why, W-Y and what, W-A-T, what. Now let's go with letter K. For letter K, the letter K is always silent when it precedes the letter N in a word. For example, knife, K-N-I-F-E ആണ് നമ്മൾ അത് പറയുന്നത്. So the K is silent. It's N-I-F-E. So we pronounce it as knife. And the same thing goes with no, K-N-O-W ആണ്. Do you know this person, or are you familiar with this person? So it is K-N-O-W. Here likewise it's N-O-W, no. And that same thing with night, K-N-I-G-H-T. So K is silent, it's N-I-G-H-T, night. Just like നമ്മൾ രാത്രി പറയുന്ന പോലെ night. Okay, now the letter L. The letter L is usually not pronounced after the vowels. For example, A, O and U. Example, calf, half and palm. Now let's go with the letter N. The letter N is not pronounced when it comes after M at the end of a word. For example, column, dam, solemn. Right? So you pronounce C-O-L-U-M not with an N. Column nu parayatilla, just M till the M, and then N is not pronounced. Same thing goes with dam and with solemn. Now the letter P. The letter P is not pronounced at the beginning of many words using the combination of PS, PT and PN. For example, Bible dathondallu oru Psalms nammal vaayikkathilla. So it's Sam. Psephology. P we will not pronounce. PSE, P will be silent. So it's psephology. Likewise, it's psychology, not PSY. This becomes psychology. Same with psephology. Then Sam. S. The P there is silent and you go with the S. Same ways. Now with the letter H. A letter H is usually silent when it appears after W. So example are W-H-Y, why, W-H-A-T, what. So the H is silent. So it's W-Y and what, W-A-T, what. Even though you write W-H-A-T, you are not going to stress on the H. It's a silent letter. Now combination again, that is PH. PH is sometimes pronounced like F. For example, paragraph, elephant, telephone. So here PH is pronounced as F. When you hear the sound that is pronounced here, the sound that comes out, the intonation, the PH becomes an F. So paragraph, elephant, telephone. Now with S. The letter S is not pronounced before L in the following words like aisle, A-I-S-L-E. So S is silent. Aisle. നമ്മൾ നടക്കുന്ന ഒരു aisle അല്ല, വഴി, corridor, an aisle. Same thing with island. I-S-L-A-N-D ആണല്ലോ നമ്മൾ എഴുതുന്ന island. So it's not Iceland അല്ല, it's island. I-S-L-A-N-D. The S is silent. I-L-A-N-D. Same thing with aisle and sled. So it's let. It's let alla, it's let. Now with the T. The letter T is not pronounced in the following common English words like castle, Christmas, fasten, listen, often. Then When it comes to BERET, the T will be silent. It's beret. Same thing with the car that we ride. The car, Chevrolet. Whistle, thistle, bustle, hasten, soften. Right? The T, soft. T namal paraythilla, soften. Then it's rapport, not rapport. Right? Same thing with gourmet, ballet. The T is not pronounced. Now with the letter U. When it's U, the letter U is not pronounced when it comes after the letter G and before a vowel in a word. For example, it's guide. GUID ആണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ GID പറയുന്നത് guide. Same thing with guest. GUEST. The U is not pronounced. It's GEST. Guest. Same thing with the guard. He is a security guard. GUARD. So that's GARD pronounced. U will be silent. Same thing with guest. Now, the letter W is not pronounced at the beginning of the word when it comes before the letter R. For example, right, rest, wrong, rack, rap. Okay. So these rules for silent words in English can help you get a brief idea of the pronunciation of words with silent letters in them. So silent words, spelling and the vocabulary can be the golden ticket to IELTS success you're longing for. Now, let's look at a few examples to reinforce our understandings of silent words and letters in English. So, the examples and relevance of silent letters in English. So, there are hundreds of English words with surprising letters. Here, we look at some common words with silent letters and how to pronounce them. So, there are many words. There are many words that are silent letters. But I cannot make a list of it, but I just prepared a few so that we can look into it and just see how we can pronounce them. Okay, so let's begin. So for as in the last slide we saw the letter B. So the letter B. So it's namal tala cheegana comb. That is COMB. So we'll never say comb. B varathilla. So it's only comb. The B is silent there. We are not going to stress or we are not going to give emphasis on the letter B. Comb. COM. That's it. The B is silent. Likewise, for scissors, the C is silent. It's scissor. Scissors. With handsome, it's handsome, not handsome. So the D is silent in handsome. So it's hand and the D is not pronounced. It's silent. So it's HANSOME. Handsome. The D is not pronounced. Likewise with the letter E, it's breathe, right? The E is not pronounced. With K, the knee is KNE, we just pronounce it as KEE, that is knee. So likewise, for the letter L, half, 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 right? But when we pronounce it, the L is silent, right? So it's HAF, that's half. HAAF. When we pronounce it, it comes up as half. Same thing with the letter P. As I mentioned before, when PS varumbo engane pronounce India, it's PSYCHOLOGY. It's psychology. Psychology. Right? The P is silent there. Likewise with biscuit. The namal kazhikkuna biscuit. So it's even though it's written as BISCUIT, the U is silent here. It's pronounced as biscuit. Now the word dam, DAMN but when you pronounce it, the N becomes silent. The N is not pronounced. So the N is, instead of that N, we're not going to say that, it's just DAM, dam. Likewise castle, CASTLE but when you pronounce it, it's going to be castle. The S is not going to be castle, right? The T is not going to be pronounced. The T is silent. Castellala, it's CASLE in the pronunciation. But when you write it, it's CASTLE, castle. But when you pronounce it, it's CASLE, castle. Castle namal paraythilla. So make sure, and there are many words that all you need to do is just Google it and you'll find how many words are there or how many words are there with combination or single letters in silent words, and you can practice it. There are lots of apps available. Just type in these words and see how they are pronounced when there are silent letter words. Okay, let's move forward. So, the pronunciation of the word can give you a clear idea about the silent letters in the given words. It's important to note that the spelling of a word may not always match its pronunciation. So, very true. For example, if you see, when you write, these words will be written as comb, cheap, the letter B, C-O-M-B, right? But you pronounce it as comb, C-O-M. So, written is different and the speaking part is different. Likewise, for handsome, H-A-N-S-O-M-E, ആയിരിക്കും pronounce ചെയ്യുന്നത്. But when you write it, it's H-A-N-D-S-O-M-E, right? Half, H-A-L-F, right? But when you pronounce, it's half. The L is not pronounced. It's just half, right? Castle, C-A-S-T-L-E, right? The T is silent. So, it's C-A-S-L-E, castle. Okay, so the pronunciation of the words can give you a clear idea about the silent letter in the given word. It's important to note that the spelling of a word may not always match its pronunciation. As depicted in the table above, this can lead to confusion and errors in communication. So, being aware of these differences can help us avoid misunderstandings and ensure effective communication. Fair enough. So, this is how you can find out. As I mentioned before also, pronunciation is also an important criteria in speaking as well as in your day-to-day activity. So there are these words, if you don't pronounce it correctly, there will be a miscommunication happening. And as likewise, if you're going for IELTS, that's going to happen because the examiner is going to mark you on the 4 parameters or the criteria, and pronunciation is one of them, right? Each criteria, that is your grammatical range and accuracy, your vocabulary, right, pronunciation, all these have 25% weightage. So pronunciation is also a part of it. So make sure you practice your silent letters the correct way and pronounce it the correct way. You just have to Google it and you'll get a lot of information, a lot of words that are silent. All you need to do is just download them and try to pronounce it correctly. Or there are lots of apps where you type it and you just press the speaker button. You can listen to how it's pronounced. So these were the few tips that I prepared for your pronunciation of silent words and silent letters that was going to come up for your IELTS speaking. So hope this has helped you, and I'll see you in my next live session next week. Till then, take care. Goodbye. This is Mon Korean signing off from Tiju's Academy, Tiruvalla. Goodbye.